Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cracked Dice Gaming. We have
Crank and Chewy here.
Mr. Anderson.
and Captain Shikaka. Well, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. I think we had about 2 listens, and I think that was myself and somebody else last week.
That was me.
So
that was me.
hopefully we'll double that. Maybe we'll get 4 listens. We'll see. Anyway, hey, we're just excited for another episode of Cracked Dice Gaming, your Destiny podcast. Star Wars Destiny podcast, that is. And we got some fun things happening this week. We're going to talk a little bit about a spoiler, talk about some regional action, and what's the last thing? Some of our...
Yes, favorite cards from across the galaxy. It's going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So give you a little heads up on some of the across the galaxy cards, what's happening with those, and maybe some hidden cards you're not really thinking about using or haven't used yet and may consider using in the future. Anyway, so... Chewy, do you want to go ahead and talk about this spoiler we have?
Yeah. So the spoiler we have this week for you is called Discard to Reroll.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Second best Destiny podcast. So it's a 0 cost support. The support is labeled trash, obviously. It has 6 special sides. Each of the special sides says discard a card and reroll this die. Do not remove this die from your pool after resolving this ability. Instead, draw a card. So you can explain that one there if you want to.
Yeah. Well, you got to do the saying, of course. It says, "I never listen to discard to reroll." Hey, by the way, the quote. By the way, who's the first best podcast?
I think it's those 3 guys, or
the
2 guys and the woman
guys?
called Cracked Dice Gaming.
Oh wow.
No. It's got to be that the chance cube, right?
Oh, totally.
They always get the best advice, right?
Yeah.
I just play
totally.
it. But seriously, we never listen to discard to reroll. It's the most trash out there, so don't listen to it, of course. But we do love Mr. Chip. Anyway,
we do. We love
You
this.
love Mr. Chip?
oh heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
Anyway, so the discard to reroll card. I love the art on it. Really neat card. It's got a little like a little Darth Vader. What do you call them? Funko Pops or something like that. And he's got a little instead of his normal. Lights on his chest. He's got like Tetris going on there or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, discard a card, reroll, discard a card, reroll, discard a card. I think this might actually be a card playable. 0 cost, right?
I think it could be because, discard a card to reroll, and then you draw a card. You can just go through your entire deck to find the cards you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's playable.
Plus the special chaining, you're guaranteed a special, right?
Yeah,
Roll it up.
when you're just having a bad day and you just want to end the game, just mill your whole deck.
Yeah, you can just move the entire hand.
Yeah, that's it. So you sit down and you're at a regional event, you're playing some trash bag that's cheating and being stupid, you pull out the discard to reroll, and you just end the game right there.
You're playing one of those double down decks with 3 easy pickings and 3 hyperspace jumps. Just, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't want to play.
The 3rd hyperspace jumps gets thrown out, and you discard a reroll, and you discard a reroll, and then you just discard a reroll, and you just be a trash bag right along with it. So anyway, yeah,
Exactly.
interesting card.
I must say a neutral blue support.
Oh, yeah.
That is legendary, of course.
Oh, of course, legendary. Yeah, it has to be. It's discard a reroll.
It's blue as well. I don't know if you mentioned that.
So anyway, a little shout out to Mr. Chip and his podcast, Discard a Reroll.
Go check him out.
Yeah, go check it out. Don't listen, but go check out his WhatsApp and his. I think he's on
His WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. He's got WhatsApp?
He's got WhatsApp? Wait.
Oh no, his what is it? His Instagram page. I think I think he's on Twitter and all that kind of good stuff. I think he's got a Facebook possibly. If you're still in the Stone Age. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get to some regional action again. So this last week we played some of the regional decks, from the last regional events. Really interesting decks, of course, and we looked at them, and they were really oddball decks. Other than, of course, the Vader deck that really stood out. We were kind of surprised, like North Carolina. The winner was the E Yoda. The Gungan and the Hired Gun and Armored Support. Armored Support, of course, kind of a broken card anyway.
Yep.
Armored Reinforcement.
Yeah, Armored Reinforcement. Sorry, and so we were kind of wondering, is this a viable deck? Is it a playable deck? What do you guys think?
I wouldn't play it because I
mean,
just don't like 3 character decks.
Yeah,
that's just me.
And I think it gets beat by Vader too easily. I think because if you could get a Fear Deadman off, and then if you could even get a second one off,
you lost.
You've lost at that point. Like,
Yeah, it seems like it's really, again, one of those decks that's really kind of an OTK deck. If you don't know what that means, it means one turn kill. Of course, that kind of has been redefined. It's not so much the one turn kill anymore, where they're killing you the first turn, obviously, as much as it's just, a deck that's really reliant on one card to really kind of fuel it, which, of course, that we know that one card is the Shadowcaster. And so, I saw this deck. We played it. We played against it. I played a few people on TTS and saw this deck played. And I was kind of unimpressed, honestly. I know it really seemed to struggle against Vader. Yeah. I feel like, in this regional event, we didn't see a lot of Vader. Mm-hmm. I see they had the Vader Jawa, and there was an Vader Greedo, and I was kind of wondering, maybe he just didn't have the cards.
Yeah, I think especially from the last set, Yoda is still incredibly popular, so people are still going to be playing their Yodas. Vader, I don't know if has become as popular yet, and with Snoke's nerfing, there's just not a lot of him. But I think people will eventually find more ways to play Snoke, put him in decks. There'll probably be some broken deck that comes out that just has Snoke in it, and it's just broken. But I think as soon as people start getting more Vaders and more Greedos, that you'll see a lot more Vader winning, like every single regional.
How about you, Andy? Any ideas about that?
Yeah. Yes, totally.
Got the Eddie Griffin show over here. You guys don't know what that is, but
no, I don't.
Mr. Chip will understand.
Mr. Chip.
Not that he'll ever listen to this trash podcast, but hey.
Probably doesn't listen to his own.
No, of course he doesn't. That's crazy.
And anyway, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it just seems kind of, bland and so thematic.
It's just so thematic.
Yeah, because you always see I think we talked about this last time, the Gungan, jumping down the garbage chute, of course. But I think the thing that I saw this week as we played this, especially against Vader, with the Fear and Dead Man, you're hitting for 4, swinging for 4 on that Fear and Dead Man, and that really just hurts. The Gungan's pretty much dead. The Iron Gun's almost dead. You might have a couple shields on Yoda, but he's still going to be at 2 damage and 8 left. And if you get 1-4, or Vader could roll up for 8 the next turn and Yoda's dead. I just felt like once Yoda was dead, the deck is dead. You really are kind of dependent on Yoda to get you those resources, especially to turn those sides. That's one of the problems I saw with this deck was, you're rolling out that Shadowcaster, and it's great, but, if you don't get the sides you need, then you're having to pitch to reroll, you can easily get rid of it with one mitigation card, and that's,
You can throw a targeting astromech in there, buddy.
Or
you can just turn it then.
that card from the rival set that turns a die or a vehicle or support or something like that.
Oh, targeting computer?
Yeah. And a correction, you said the Iron Gun, Iron Gun. Just so people aren't like, where's this Iron Gun I never knew about? But it's okay.
Whatever. Anyway, so hired gun. Yeah, not the Iron Gun. I think that's a ride at Disney World or something. But anyway, so
you probably watch out for the Iron Gun next time.
Yeah. So anyway, so I just felt like once Yoda was dead, you still have the hired gun, but then you don't have any resources to resolve his sides. Gungan obviously worthless, other than using into the garbage chute. So I just felt like, boy, that it has no guts. And the only thing I can figure is with the quarterfinalists, the Vader Greedo, that it must have been something where that guy just didn't have the cards. I'm guessing he probably didn't have the cards in that deck he really needed. Probably didn't have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Probably didn't have. One of the powerhouse cards I think in that deck, besides Vader's Saber, obviously is Friends in High Places. That just is so broken in that deck.
Yeah, Friends in High Places. Good. And I mean, if you don't hit a Friends in High Places and hit something good, it kind of sucks.
Yeah. But I think.
Yeah, but you're almost guaranteed to hit at least something that it's usable.
Yeah, but I mean, in his quarterfinalist, he could have played the games and he could have just got janked with it.
Oh yeah,
he could have got like a hidden motive, and an overconfidence.
So the only thing I can figure is this winner, he must have did one of two things. Either he just cheated flat out, which I'm guessing that didn't happen. He must have just god rolled. He must have just really just rolled ridiculous.
Exploded turn one.
Yeah, and Vader probably didn't have any mitigation or no mitigation or little mitigation, and just exploded turn one. Really got a lot of damage on Vader that turn somehow. And that's the only thing I can figure, because that deck just doesn't seem to stand up against a Vader deck. And a lot of these other decks, I mean, it just seems like it's easily gunned down. You just go for Yoda, and once Yoda's dead, there's nothing left to the deck. You have to have the resources, and you don't have the resource production. So,
or Darth Vader had deja vu to Attack of the Clones, and his lightsaber simply didn't work.
Yeah. So let's look at the other one. Of course, it's the Hawaiian regionals. Again, not a lot. I know we talked about this a little bit, but we played this deck again, the East Snoke Afra battle droid with a bit rival. And I just again felt like this fell flat. I didn't feel like it was a great deck. What'd you guys think?
A bit of rivalry hurts.
It does. Yeah.
It just hurts. Like, there's no way getting around it. If your opponent gets to do 2 damage straight away to Snoke or Afra, and then they get to draw a card. I mean, drawing a card seems so insignificant turn one, but if you hit a card that you really, really need, then great for you. Like, I mean, if you're playing Darth Vader and you don't have any weapons round one, but they have bit of rivalry, you draw a weapon, boom, there you go. I mean, and your opponent's doing 2 damage right off the bat. Like, I mean, that just kind of sucks.
Yeah, I feel like this deck again is dependent on Afra. It's really dependent on her abilities, her card draws to get the things you need out. And so I felt like when we played against it and played it, it just didn't have the punch it used to have. And again, I think when we were in the last meta, you had opportunities to build up. You had that opportunity to ramp up. And I feel like now you don't. Vader's swinging 8 damage round 1.
And even the guy that was the finalist with him only was playing Vader on 1 die. So, I mean,
the way the Force deck is.
Yeah, he's playing Vader 3, Elite Mother Talisman.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think that's a viable deck, honestly.
No.
So I would say if the true Vader deck showed up, Vader, Elite with Greedo, I think that's probably the best pairing. My personal opinion, of course, but it has to be a yellow because you get the Friends in High Places, and that's just again such a broken. I can't say enough. Such a broken card. Yeah, you throw that dark saber on Vader, and you're swinging for 4 damage or for
5
what?
damage with a dark saber plus whatever Vader hits on his dice. I mean.
Oh yeah, the max.
Yeah, I mean, you could be hitting with 4, 4, 5, and then a +4 on Vader's saber, pay a resource, roll a Vader die back out in, and do another damage. Like,
Yeah,
that just hurts. Like, that just hurts.
Yeah.
Imagine if they didn't nerf fast hands. Just imagine.
Oh, if fast hands.
Ooh. Just imagine fast hands on Vader. The fastest guy in the galaxy. Like he's not in an armor suit or anything.
But I mean, even fast hands, it doesn't. I mean, I don't even know if I'd put it in a Vader deck. It may be good, I guess. But the thing is with fast hands, especially like we were doing it on Bazine or not Bazine. What's her name? The one. Yeah. No. It's before her. The Ezra.
Sabine.
That's what I was trying to think of. The Sabine deck. I mean, you use fast hands with her. And the reason why is because you didn't want her dice taken off the board. Well, Vader, who cares if his dice? You discard a card, you put him back in.
True,
so,
but I like the idea where you get to just. Be more so for your weapons because they can remove your weapons.
Dark saber or Vader's lightsaber.
Yeah, that's true. If you're rolling that dark saber, you don't want that taken off. So it might be worth a fast hands, but
you can't really.
Or even if you needed resources, you can just fast hands a 2 resources Vader.
Yeah,
but you can't do fast hands anymore.
Yeah. So I would be really surprised. I just think that the bitter rivalry, it's an interesting card. I mean, it opens up some fun decks to play, but I just think it hurts way too much to make it viable going forward.
It could be the difference between your Snoke or Afra surviving round 2 and onto round 3 or not, because 2 damage is 2 damage. Unblockable as well.
Yeah. But when you get the extra card, I mean, 6 cards in your hand opening doesn't seem like much, but it really is quite a bit. You get cards that you can draw a 6th card. So I mean, having 6 cards, or old Luke 1, where he draw that extra card, that was his ability. I mean, you're getting that for free. That's just really good.
Yeah. it turns Snoke, if they do it to Snoke, which I'd do it to Snoke because he's, the elite character. It turns him from, 11 health Snoke, turns him from 11 health Snoke to a spongy Mother Taliesin, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, even if you go after Afra or you go after Snoke, I think either one you're doing, it's such an easily killed character. So you're going against a Vader, you've got a 9 health Snoke. And if you get your battlefield, the new what is it? The Theed, the new Theed deck. You're throwing a Vader saber or something down, a 3-cost upgrade on Vader, or even an Ancient, and you're rolling out 3 dice. I mean, you're easily, you could easily hit for 10 damage. Snoke's dead round 1.
But then you get the 2 shields if they're playing on Theed.
Oh well, sure, yeah. But
which puts him back to 11.
Yeah, if they throw him on Snoke, but then then you can smack Afra. What's she, 10 points? I think.
Yeah. I'd still probably
you
go
can
for Snoke.
And again, even if Snoke was alive, Afra's dead. That deck doesn't work.
It's true. It's a 2-character deck, kind of with.
It's basically a 2-character deck with a battle droid.
Yeah.
Right?
For the red card.
Yeah, and the battle droid doesn't have a resource side. So what are you going to do at that point? I mean.
He's just smashing for damage.
Yeah, you're just smashing for damage with Snoke, but
red.
Yeah. So you're doing like 3 indirect, and you're throwing them all on Greedo. So big deal, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So again, I just don't think. I just feel like that deck is. I don't see it going forward very much. I think people will continue to play it because, and I think the reason we saw it in Hawaii was people just had it. It was already built from the previous meta, and they just used it. I don't think you'll see it going forward once the cards get more readily available. Mm-hmm. Again, so we looked at North Carolina. We looked at Hawaii, the deck, of course, in North Dakota, it was E. Vader, Greedo, which is the winner, and I just think that is the stellar deck right now.
I think that's the best deck in the game at this point. Mm-hmm. Vader just hits hard. He hits really, really, really hard. And especially with a lot of these stupid little 3-character decks that are being played right now, with Fear and Dead Men, things like that, it just hurts. And even when you're playing Vader against even Kylo Wolf, which is another 2-character deck that's being played, Vader's going to outdamage you every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. There's no way that Kylo is going to outdamage Vader. I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, even with Kylo's ability, when you're playing Vader Greedo, a lot of the cards I play Dark Sabers, Friends in High Places, Friends in Low Places, all kinds of different yellow cards, even some gray cards. And so it kind of mixes it up a little bit, so it's almost harder for Kylo to get that extra 2 damage off on you. And I think in a lot of the regionals even, there's not a ton of Kylo anymore. You see a lot of, maybe even Han Kira was one of them that was being played. And Vader's going to outdamage that deck almost every single time as well. Tobias Beckett Sienna, going to outdamage it.
20 health.
I mean... It's just
20 health.
I mean, 2-character decks, Vader's gonna outdamage you. 3-character decks, Fear and Dead Men just hurts.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest problem with Vader, and the only problem I see honestly, is if he just doesn't roll good. If you're not rolling good, you can't get your or you don't and he's also kind of resource starved. I mean, I know he does have the 2 resource side, and you can generate some resources with that deck, no doubt about it. But I think again, you're wanting to resolve those big damage sides. You're wanting to resolve those 2s and 3s at the very least, if not the 4s, and so it's tough. But I noticed on the Hyperloops,
Hyper trash.
They've got some interesting on their website. They had the short list of mitigation cards for Vader. Interesting. They have suppressive fire. I think that's certainly a viable card if you're playing red. But again, there's no great red decks out there.
Here's my problem with removing Vader's dice. Okay, you pay in all likelihood a resource to remove this die, and he rolls it back in. That's a resource you don't have for upgrades. So usually when I play Vader, it might not be the best idea. I almost never remove his dice unless I'm forced to. I usually just say, you know what, I'm gonna go ham on the upgrades and just try and just smack Vader and kill him. But it's worked out okay. I just don't like removing dice and paying resources for basically no effect other than a reroll. And then if I have enough resources, maybe I remove them again, but that rarely happens.
Yeah, I would much rather turn his dice. I think a couple of cards that I was really interested in, they did say Double Cross was one of them, 2-cost event, and it's remove one of your yellow character dice to resolve an opponent's die as if it were your own. I think any of these kind of things where you're removing his die, like even a reversal or something like that, if you can get those off, I think that's worth it. If you're resolving one of his dice against him, I think that's good. Another one that's interesting. It hasn't seen a lot of play. I know there's a few decks that kind of, try to work it in, but sensor placement. I kind of wonder about that. Red.
What does that do?
Red hero card event.
This card.
Spot a red character to resolve an opponent's die not showing damage as if it were your own die.
That's cool. For 2 resources.
Yeah, for 2 resources, that's the problem.
I mean, I guess if he hits the 2 resource, you can play that and make your money back, which it'll just get rid of his power action, I guess. And then you get to reroll into damage. I mean, there's really no way.
But
there's not really any way to
resolve.
It says resolve.
So you just die.
So you're resolving his die against him. So
That's
you're
true.
not removing it. So
That's
I
true.
don't think he can roll that back in, right?
Now I look like an idiot. Yeah, you're right. You just resolved it. That's cool. Yeah,
I think that's
really dumb.
yeah. If one or more of your character dice were removed, not resolved, but removed during your last, and this says resolve. So anything that says resolve on it.
True.
So I mean that would be great. So you could, if he rolls it, I mean it might be worth having at least one in your hand. He rolls out, gets the 2 resources. You throw that down for 2, you get your 2 back. Not a bad deal.
It's kind of situational though. He only has 2 sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it'll when you pull it off, it's great.
Yeah.
Basically
I
either
think-
just remove the die or get 2 shields.
One of the cards that I think might be an interesting card to start playing against Vader is Anger.
We're talking to you, Chris.
Yeah.
To you.
Yeah. Yeah. Event, blue villain event. You play, 0 cost. Play only if you have 2 or more dice showing blanks. Resolve an opponent's die showing damage as if it were your die. So again, interesting. I mean, you're resolving, so you're not removing, so Vader can't re-roll that die back in, and it's 0 cost, which I love, and you just have to have some blanks. So you guys that like to roll those blanks, hey, throw this in your deck, especially if you're playing blue villain. You're playing the Kylo deck, you're playing some kind of blue villain deck. Really interesting.
Like Tarkin.
I think
with someone.
another card was actually released in Across the Galaxy, Cunning Ruse. This card
It finishes Vader. That's what it
is
does.
so stinking good against Vader. You guys probably all know the card, villain yellow. Reroll a character die, then deal damage to that character equal to the value showing on that die.
1 resource for it.
For a resource, it's a common. This card is so good. I saw Chris play this, Sir Christopher.
A couple
Yeah.
years ago.
A couple years ago, he played this card, and it would hit Vader. Like if Vader, you re-roll that die and he hits that 4, you're doing 4 damage to Vader for a freaking resource. Like
The only problem with it is it's great against Vader, one of the best cards against Vader. Finish him off, if he has 2 health left. But you're going against one of them Shadowcaster decks when all the character dice are 1s and stuff. It's like
I mean, even in a Shadowcaster deck, a lot of them do play hired gun.
I know, or another one is 4 wide decks. That all the characters are just really crappy and there's no elite character.
I think
That is 3 sides and many 2 sides.
yeah, it's just another card
But it's a good card too.
because when you're playing against another Vader, like a Vader versus Vader, you pull out this card, you re-roll their character die, do another 4 damage, even 2 damage.
Yeah.
Is about the minimum you're gonna hit.
And again, it's a great finisher card.
Yeah. I think
It's at the end of the game when it's they have the battlefield, they get to roll it first, and they got 2 health. Cunningers.
Yep.
GG. I'd love to
Yep.
win a game off Cunningers.
Yeah, I love those big finishers. Obviously we've had some in the past. The No Mercy, kind of cards and things like that.
Yep.
One of the ones that I really like is this idea. I think it's a great card against Vader. I don't know about other decks, but the Wanton Destruction, really
card,
interesting card. Yellow villain. It's a 3 cost event, which is kind of expensive, obviously, on the higher end. But for each character die showing damage, deal damage equal to its value to its matching character. So, for each character die, so Vader rolls out the 2 4s. Vader's got He's got anything like 7 or 8 or 9 damage. He rolls out the 2 4s. It's instant kill for Vader. So I mean, against a Vader deck, I definitely wouldn't put 2 of these in my deck. But having 1 in there, that 1 card that it really performs against Vader. I've used this card a few times against Vader, and it just comes out of nowhere. You don't think it's going to happen. He rolls out, and bam, Vader's dead, and the game over.
If Vader's really relevant in your current meta, you definitely want to whip out this Wanton Destruction, because it's the perfect Vader counter card, just like Cunning Ruse.
Yeah.
But like if Vader's kind of soft or not there, because of course it's hard to get Vader in all the cards from, then probably don't play it, because it's not really good against any other character, to be honest, except for maybe like Palpatine or something. But she's not going to get played very well.
So, yeah, we played a lot of Vader this last week. We've been playing him ever since he's been released. I think probably like a lot of people on TTS, and he's just a fun character to play. I love his big sides. I love his damage. I love his power action, power action. I love his, just everything about him. They finally gave us, thank you TDS, thank you TTS. Yes. Thank you FFG.
Thank you TTS.
Yeah. FFG.
FF trash.
Thank you so much for finally giving us a card that isn't a mill, it isn't a rose, it isn't some stupid off character. It's actually a main character from the actual movies, and it's not trash. So thank you for that.
And I cannot wait like a couple months from now when the Holocron comes out. Bam, they nerf Vader and he becomes trash. They take our money and then throw it away.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they
can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Enjoy him now.
It'll be. You'll have to probably pay 2 resources to roll the die back in or something dumb. I'm sure that they're going to nerf the Vader's Fist too. That just seems like such a broken card.
Please nerf that.
Shadowcaster's getting nerfed.
I don't know about the Shadowcaster. I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. It seems like to me, like whenever FFG does these Holocron updates, they have a broken something in the set. Instead of just adjusting that one broken something, they adjust 10 other somethings to try to fix the one broken something, and they wind up screwing up the whole thing. So they wind up destroying characters, destroying cards, instead of just fixing one broken thing.
Yeah. It's like what they did with Kylo, Sabine Ezra, crushing the meta. Oh, here's this Kylo guy just gonna come and destroy Sabine Ezra, and for the most part it did. But then every other mono deck, boom. That's a good example of them not knowing fully how to manage the game. But it's good. It's okay. It's going to be fine.
Well, they've done this with so many characters. They did this with Unkar.
Yep.
They did it with Poe. Poe 1. Those are fun decks. They were really, just really doing a lot to the meta. But instead of just, and of course they nerf those 1 card, and I get that. But at the same time, I think they could have done other things like,
The problem with Unkar was they should have just nerfed Thrawn.
I like Thrawn.
Unkar, you could play Unkar with Anakin, old Darth Vader, not Darth Vader 1, but Darth Vader 2 from Spirit of Rebellion. But, they shouldn't have nerfed Unkar because now he just kind of sucks and then nobody ever played him. So.
Yeah. Well, even some of the last Holocron update, when they nerfed the cards for the OTK decks, it was like, they nerf them. It's so goofy. They nerf these cards, and instead of just saying, these cards are no longer part of the game, which they should have done, they made them so absolute garbage that you can't play them anymore. Yep. Like, for example, the Long Con. It wasn't played that much anyway. They finally, found a use for the Long Con. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was kind of broken. I know it made for a negative play experience, but I thought it was really creative, and I didn't like the fact that they did that to that deck. And yet, here they are saying, instead of doing like a small nerf, they just said, no, we're going to nerf it so it's unplayable anymore. Yep. And I just don't like it when they do that. They should have looked ahead and said, hey, we're not going to have these cards that you can pull 15 cards out of your hand or, whatever, or out of your deck. It's just craziness. But anyway, it always seems like FFG, they break something. And instead of fixing that one broken thing, they break about 10 other things. But anyway.
And it fixes that one thing. So it solves our problem. They're like, we fixed your problem, guys. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Look at these 10 other problems.
One thing I wish that FFG would do actually is go back through cards like Unkar, FN, Poe, and re-nerf them. Or like get rid of the nerfs on them. Buff them, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Make more money.
Because like Poe, he might be able to be played in the meta. Probably not with Maz, but with his special, with like these huge costed supports that we have now, he might be able to hit for like 5-6 damage. And that would hurt a lot.
Yeah, he'd be a lot of fun to play now. I bet
He'd be like a Vader.
So you
almost.
play against him, and then you're just there like, okay, why'd they re-nerf this guy?
Yeah.
Or like even FN with his ability, like I don't know. It'd be tough to say if FN would still be viable or not. Because like
I think he's still
loved
good. He's
playing
got
FN.
11. Of course you did. Of course.
I loved playing FN. He was so much fun.
Yeah.
Loved him.
Before the TTS days, Will whips out 2 FNs and just rapes us. It's great.
So anyway, so let's move last deck that we played. I don't think we played this as much as the other ones. E Tobias, E Sienna, armored support, and I just felt like this deck didn't really go anywhere.
20 health.
It's 20 health. It just gets wasted way too quick.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like, I understand you're trying to get those resources and get the cards out and all that, and it just didn't seem like you just had. And that's the problem. I think right now, honestly, to me, you've got the fire spray and you've got some decent villain vehicles, but they don't compare.
They're just not as good.
You pull out the 4 TIE fighters, and yeah, you probably get the resources to do that. You could probably get the TIE fighters, maybe all 4 of them out round 2, but then you're still only doing maybe 8 damage. With all 4 of them.
You gotta hit all 2s then.
Yeah, I know.
You're not
but
gonna get 8 damage.
I know, but like I'm saying, like you're maxing out at 8 damage for 4 vehicles. That's what I'm saying. Like everything else, you're maxing damage on 4 vehicles anywhere else. You're probably doing somewhere like 12, 15, maybe 20 points of damage. I mean, these are 8 damage with 4 vehicles. It's not very great.
Or you just whip out your 4 costs for the Shadowcaster or something like that.
Yeah.
And do 6 damage.
Exactly.
But of course you have to have mods.
Well, and I think the problem is I saw with this deck is so you've got those TIE fighters out, you got whatever else out, or maybe you've got the what's the Umbarian tank or whatever it's called, the hover tank, yeah, and even something like that, I don't think it's that great, but
it's good against the 3 character decks and 4 character decks with a special.
Oh yeah, if you're going head to head with a vehicle deck or something, you might do okay.
It's 2 or 3 to each.
But what I'm seeing is you've got those TIE fighters. I just don't like them because by round 3. You're trying to get all 4 of those TIE fighters rolled in, your characters rolled in, maybe another support or 2 rolled in.
And they whip out a mind trick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it just takes you like a half an hour to get those things out. And by then, they've killed off all your characters. By the time you're about to ready to do some damage.
Your 20 health is gone.
Yeah, exactly. Your 20 health. It's just not. It just doesn't seem viable to me. But, kudos to whoever played that deck in New Hampshire and won. I don't know how in the world they did that. I can't imagine they played.
He might have some home baked dice.
Maybe a little bit of home baked dice.
Yeah, you never know, right? Yeah.
Sometimes you do know.
How does Sienna always hit the
Dude, you've got 5 +2s now. Dude, trust me, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Tobias always hits the special, and she always hits the +2. I can't quite figure it
Dice are
out.
a little crispy there. Dude, I don't know,
But I don't see what I don't see in this lineup. I didn't see the E Vader, E Greedo. I see the E Vader Bazine, which I just don't think is as powerful a deck.
It can be more powerful if you're that special 3 damage. And the 2 shields also helps him stay, and you get another health, I guess. But I like Greedo more. But of course,
I think Greedo just gives you more options. He's doing the 2. He's doing the 2.
He's doing the blink.
Greedo's ability, like when you just get to re-roll or roll him back in and resolve. Yeah. Like there's times where I've killed guys just off of rolling in Greedo.
Yeah.
And hitting like a 2 damage and killing a character. Like
oh yeah, absolutely.
It ultimately boils down to Vader's the main character. That's just a little, the Bazine Greedo doesn't matter that much, is what I'm trying to say. It does matter, but not that much when you have Darth Vader. And maybe he just didn't have the legendary Greedo for some reason and just say, hey, I'll just take my Bazine and play her.
I just feel like Bazine's just too luck-based. So, I think all her sides are pretty good. The special, obviously, if they don't have damage, you can do that 3 damage on them. That's great. And she's got the disrupt, she's got the mill,
Shields.
and the shield sides. I think those are good sides. I think the problem with that is you don't need that with Vader as much.
No.
I mean, you don't need to hit that. You don't need to mill a card out of their hand. You don't need to mill the mitigation because you can roll Vader back in. What you need is the damage. I mean, Vader is an aggro deck, so you need damage. So you get the 3, great, and then you're doing 1, 1, 1. Well, I think the thing with I agree 100% with Chewie. The damage sides on Greedo when you're doing 2, 2, 2, it doesn't seem like much, but boy, it adds up, especially against these low health decks. Even though they've got like a lot of health, a total, but a character has 10 points. So you kill off. I mean, you do 2, 2, 2 to Yoda. You've got 6 damage just from Greedo alone, possibly on Yoda. I mean,
Yep.
then you're
Hurts.
one swing with a Vader, and Yoda's dead. So
She also has the resource side, which is nice. Of course, Greedo not having the resource side really hurts. But
Yeah, but the disrupt side of Greedo I've actually found very useful.
she also has that too.
Like, his disrupt side is not that bad. Like, it's not that bad. Like, especially in a Vader deck where, they might just have one resource to mitigate, one of your dice. And, if you don't happen to have a card you want to discard, really. And you can just straight up disrupt them, and then they can't mitigate. And then you just get to roll out and just resolve everything.
yeah. So it's interesting. It seems like we've been doing Destiny. I don't know, for quite a while now, but a year and a half, something like that. We came in the
June 27th.
we bought we bought the original.
We bought the original starter
original
set.
Yeah, the
starter
two
sets.
starter sets. They sat. We were into hero clicks at the time, doing some hero clicks and things. And the starter sets, I think, sat for almost a month.
They sat for like a month and a half.
It's like it was a lot.
Yeah. It was just one of those things. I was in a gaming store, and the guy behind the counter said, "Hey, this is the hottest thing. I can't keep them on the shelves." And it was Star Wars, and we love Star Wars. I'm like, okay, I'm into it. Let's try it.
Do it.
And then as soon as
he gives like a discount, I think, on both of them.
maybe I think they were. I can't remember. I think they were on sale for some reason, a couple dollars off or something. But anyway, so like we bought them, and as soon as we busted them out of the packs,
You
and
took 2 losses.
and
Yeah, you took 2
I
losses.
took 2 losses. Yeah, I think that's probably about right.
You were a little salty now.
Yeah, exactly. So and then I think I won the rest of them. But anyway,
No, you haven't won.
I think I
you
went.
haven't won to date.
I think I went 4-2. Yeah, right. So anyway, we busted them out, and ever since then we've been hooked. I mean, I've seen this. What I've seen is it's interesting. Like when we first started, disrupts were absolutely garbage. It was like it might as well have been another blank on a dice. And now it seems like more and more, especially with these big costed vehicle decks, disrupt side, man. If you get a 2 disrupt side or even a single disrupt side, can make
You
a
could
huge
prevent them
swing.
from getting out like a shadow cast around one. Like,
Yeah.
there's some decks that are dependent on hitting a shadow caster. Like,
Oh, yeah.
round
All right,
one.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
And-
wait. I'm gonna be
Like, you
completely.
hit that disrupt side.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Everyone listening is probably like, "You guys are morons." I still think disrupts are blanks. I know you there are probably with me on that. I consider
disagree.
disrupt.
I disagree.
A double disrupt. A double disrupt. is great. A one disrupt for my character die.
No,
or
I think
something, where
Hondo-
I could be getting
I-
like 2 damage.
No, I think Hondo, he introduced us to the disrupt, that double disrupt side on Hondo.
That's great. That's
that was
great.
such a
It's
thing.
2, a 1.
I know, but now you're playing the Vader decks, and let's say they've got that. They've got this. They're not playing their battlefield. They're trying to get that Shadowcaster out. They got the AR, and so they need those 3 resources. And if you can't get that 3rd resource, you disrupt that 3rd resource. They're not getting out the Shadowcaster on 1. They're just not,
Yeah,
and that's
or
huge.
And this is why you guys went 2 and 4 at the Euros and dropped out because you guys like disrupts
Yeah, I don't
because
mind
they're
disrupts.
trash. They're trash.
No, well, I mean, and then you're forcing them to make a choice either as well. You're forcing them, okay, you can either choose to mitigate my Vader dice, or you can get out your stupid Shadowcast.
And then your dice become blanks. Your
Like-
disrupts become blanks.
Yeah, I like making them make choices and make tough choices. I disagree.
You guys,
With,
you guys tell us on our Instagram
with
at
Andy.
Crack Dice Gaming on Crack Dice Gaming Instagram. Tell us.
Yeah.
Do you like disrupts? Are you with me? And they're basically blanks. Of course, they're a little better than blanks because they do something. They're basically blanks.
Yeah.
Or are you with them and you're worshiping disrupts now?
I'm not worshiping disrupts.
And
I
you
just
sound
think
like-
that
you
they,
honestly sound like
I
All right.
just
a
think that,
little
you
bit.
know,
I'll be honest.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so let's move along. So one of the things we thought would be fun for this week's podcast is looking at some of these across the galaxy cards. There's
Yes.
a really amazing set out there. If you don't play TTS, we really recommend you get on TTS. There's been a lot of
get on
action.
TTS especially.
It seems like a lot of evenings. There's probably anywhere from maybe 20 to or more people. We're getting some followers on our Crack Dice Gaming. Yeah, absolutely. So take a look at that. Take a look at our TTS account. I mean, our
Take a look at
our Instagram account and the Crack Dice Gaming. We'd love to have you follow us. And again, we're going to try to do like a weekly podcast. So hopefully this will be something you enjoy. But anyway,
Again, it's Crack Dice Gaming. CrackDiceGaming. Of course, the 2 Ds with cracked and dice, just so you Don't get that confused.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
2D.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move along. So moving right along, let's see. Let's take a look at the across the galaxies and some of the cards we thought, just are some hidden champions or hidden gems. I mean, I think there's some good cards out there that really, in some decks, they can be really amazing. So let's take a look at those. And Chewy, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so the first card I already talked about was Cunning Ruse. We already talked about that one. Find the next one here. The next one is I Am the Senate, I think it is. Yeah, I Am the Senate. So, this card, I absolutely love this card.
The memes. I love the
artwork,
memes.
the memes that go along with this card. I Am the Senate. It's actually a really awesome card, I think, especially for a Vader deck. If you have exactly one character in play, or play one if you have exactly one character in play. For each die in your pool, you may remove a die showing the same value as that die. I mean, one cost, uncommon villain blue. If you play this card and your opponent rolls a blank, a 2, and you have a 2 resource invader, a 2, and a blank, you could be removing tons of dice with this card, especially if you have 3-4 upgrades on Vader.
Have you actually ever played this card before?
No, I don't think I've ever.
Now
I'm gonna whip a. I'm gonna give you a counter argument here.
I think he played in his dreams. I think he was dreaming. He's like, oh, look at this, my Vader with one.
I'm gonna get a counter argument here. It's too situational. That's my problem. You have to have one character in play. If you're playing it in a Vader deck, because they're gonna kill Vader, and you're gonna have your 1 die Greedo. Maybe with a Dark Saber.
There's a lot of decks that do indirect damage though, and then I'm price of failure even because you'll price of failure Greedo.
But you're gonna roll.
You reset Vader and you roll them all back in. I mean,
well, if you roll in Vader and hit 2 4s, and then it's kind of worth it.
Well, even for a Shadowcaster deck, the Shadowcaster has 4 sides on it.
If you draw that at the start of the game,
I mean, if you draw
before
at the
the
start of the game,
price
it
of failure,
sucks. But
that's what I'm going for. It's too situational.
But you can just put it back and
it's good. It's good.
I think it could be seeing a lot more play.
I probably just stare at that and think of all the memes while I'm playing.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think this could be one of those cards where either it's a hidden gem or boom or bust. Let us know. Comment on our Instagram account or give us a comment on our
slide the DM.
Yeah, exactly, on our podcast. Just let us know what you think about this card. Yay or nay. I think again it could be one of those. I'm always amazed at the cards that you think, oh, this is absolute garbage, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's something I missed here. And so I think this could be one of those. I'm not sure. I have to play it more, just more testing. Honestly, I've never put it in a deck because I've always thought it was too situational, but it'd be interesting.
You guys are trash. Never put I Am the Senate in a deck. Come on, you guys. That's terrible.
I've never seen you play this card.
I've never seen you play it either. You're right. Anyway.
All right. All right. Mr. Anderson, do you have a card for us?
I do not. I have 2 cards. So.
Now, out the big guns.
Now this is ironic. They're 2 red cards. Now you probably don't know me.
Just give us one. Just start us with one.
Give me a minute. They're 2 red cards. I don't usually play red, but here I have 2 red cards that I really like. First one, the Senate Chamber. Okay.
Trash. Stanky.
Okay, of course. Definitely, it's easily better than I Am the Senate, but that's cool. It is the 2 cost, neutral red support, of course. Power action. Remove one of your dice to turn a die to any side. It has a double focus, 1 mill, 1 resource, and, of course, the patented blank. I just really like it. I've been playing in my Iden Versio Tobias Beckett deck. It's just so versatile. You can use its power action offensively or defensively. It counters Vader, and, of course, the 2 double focus sides. Who doesn't want 2 double focus sides? If you and 2 resources in the middle, everything but the blank is oh, this is really good. This helps me out. I just am sitting here looking at the 2 double focuses and in awe of it for some reason, because you get the double focus on a 2 cost support and you turn 2 of your dice to any side. And I've been playing this with all in, and let me tell you, that works, especially with Iden Versio, who also has a double focus. So, you hit the double focus, you all in, you can just double focus to damage, or the double focus, into more damage.
Or to more focuses, double focus to focus to focus.
Yeah, just keep focusing your
Yeah.
focuses.
Yeah, it's like
Especially
a,
with Beckett, bro.
it's
You
like our
can just keep
discard to reroll
focusing.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But it's just really good. It's not gonna do a lot of damage. It's just gonna be there, and it just adds a spice of consistency to your deck.
It also
which
adds a
is-
spice of trash to the deck as well.
I
Just if you're wondering.
don't know. I think I like this. I like this card.
I love it.
I think this one, the Senate Chamber is absolute.
Another Senate card.
I think
Senate.
it's absolute trash. Like, here's the problem with it. You're paying 2, and the best you're getting is a double focus.
Exactly. That's
Like,
what you're getting. Is
I
a
could-
double focus.
I could play an Ancient Lightsaber and hit a +3 damage. Like,
Or-
come on.
Okay.
Here's
Okay.
the problem. This
Okay.
card is so insubordinate. It's so trash. It's not going anywhere. Like, you need to be playing weapons. Weapons.
Now,
not this little
let me tell ya.
rink-a-dink around card.
No,
This card,
no.
all you're doing is just focusing your dice. It's garbage.
Exactly. And when you're over there
Or-
discarding your whole hand.
Or you could just roll your dice the first time.
and
And then you don't have to worry about focus.
I kind of have a problem with that. I kind of like
See,
to roll
For
trash.
those of us who actually know how to roll a die properly and
Yeah.
can actually hit the damage size on our character, never play this card.
See,
it's terrible.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
You read the
Never
power
play it.
action. You can remove one of your dice, like immobilize, from the Awakenings. You can remove your die, and I turn your Vader die to any side. And when you have no cards left, it's left on a blank. Anyways,
I think that's what I like about this card. I think one of the things that, again, unsung. I think you look at the double focuses. Yes, that's great, and the 2 resource size can
it turns any
can
die.
be really great. But I like the fact that it not removes it but turns it, because in a Vader meta, and I think we're in the Vader meta right now. I think this could be a really powerful card. Remove 1 of your dice. I mean, yeah, you have to remove 1 of your dice, which it could be this die, I assume.
Yes,
And
and
then
if
you can turn any die. So
can-
you remove this die, you can turn a Vader die to a pay side, to his 4 pay side. And if he doesn't have a resource,
boom,
bam, you've really taken maybe a 3 to a 0, or you turn it to something that he just can't use, the blank or whatever. I mean, it could be something that's just really powerful. And I don't know. I like
it's just versatile.
With all the cards that are in the game, and you're gonna play a Senate Chamber.
Yep, I'm playing.
You're gonna play a Senate Chamber.
Okay. With all the cards,
Come on.
you're gonna play I Am the Senate. Anyways, moving on to my next
'cause I Am
card.
the
Yeah, let's go to your next card.
Next card. Enough with his trash. It's okay. Intense Fire, another red neutral card. This is an event. 1 resource to play. It's common from, of course, across the galaxy. Resolve 1 of your dice showing damage, increasing its value by 1 or by 2 if you have more red cards in play than an opponent. So it's like a surprise card. You have your damage. Say they have like 3 damage left on the character. You have a 2 die showing. They're like, okay, you can't kill me. Boom! Intense Fire comes out, whips out, kills the character. Guaranteed, because you have that extra 1. And if you're playing a mono red deck, or like if you're even playing 1 red character, many people right now,
Yeah, red doesn't have a lot of.
Red's not too hot right now.
No.
So if you have your 1 red character on you can keep them live, and you play a bunch of red upgrades, of course, you can it's almost guaranteed 2 damage. And it's surprise. It's not like lightsaber throw where you have to do the 2 damage and then they have the chance to remove your die. It's just boom, 2 damage plus the die. And I've exploded on turn 1 where I roll a 2 on Iden Versio and I do 4 damage and they're like, that sucks.
I thought there was no way in the world he would find a more trash card than Senate Chamber, and then he found this jank. Like,
Dude,
I don't know where you are pulling these cards out of.
I'm pulling them.
Like,
Out of my
but they are terrible. Like,
I'm pulling
resolve
this
1 of
thing.
your dice showing damage, increasing its value by 1 or by 2. Instead, if you have more red cards in play than an opponent, what?
Yes. All right, I tell you what.
You're gonna pay
All right.
1 cost for 1 damage.
No, you're probably.
for
Like,
2 damage.
like, or you're gonna pay it for 2. But who's playing red cards?
I am.
Nobody.
Iden Versio
Nobody's
Tobias Beckett.
Like,
I think
nobody's
I
playing
getting
that.
too much.
I couldn't disagree more. I think there's Iden Versio, and there's also
And you can have unlimited resources with Beckett. Look at his power.
since this is a neutral card. The other thing I think is
Bam.
you've got some other red some red
Gosh,
red
it's so
great
bad,
some really
like-
great red cards out there. And
out of all the 1,000 cards that are in the game at this point, and this is the trash you're gonna put in a deck.
You bet.
no, I just
You bet.
I disagree. I think this is it's not not gonna be a card you probably put 2 of in.
I'm putting 2 in.
But certainly one, I think one, if you've got a red character in your deck, even, I mean, you could increase your Shadowcaster by 2, I mean, there's so many options. And that just seems like not maybe much. But man, if you're doing, all of a sudden you're going the Shadowcaster, you got 3 upgrades on it, and you go from 6 to 8, I mean, that's a character almost, so, and sometimes that is a character. So depending on the health. But it's so, and the crazy thing, I love this card because it comes out of nowhere. So they're looking down at 6 damage. They're thinking, okay, I could take this 6. We go to the next round, and then you pull this out, and you do from 6 to 8, and the characters that, or you go, okay, he's got a 2 showing. I can take that 2 damage, no big deal. Or you have 2 shields, and you have a 10 health character with 8 health, and okay, I'll take that. I'm not even going to mitigate. I'm just going to claim because I want to get the claim, and all of a sudden, boom, you're dead. I think there's just a lot of surprise with this card. I think you're undergrading it, Chewy.
Here's the problem with it. There's this card that was released, I don't know how long ago, called Lightsaber Throw.
And
So Lightsaber Throw, I don't know how many of you, but I'm going to drop some knowledge on all you newbies.
Dude.
So Lightsaber
Emo
Throw,
Kids was my deck.
this card, all you had to do was have a die showing melee, and you would do 2 damage to a character.
But you don't get the surprise element.
It is a surprise element.
No, because then they can just remove the die. If
Well,
you're
Yeah,
showing
but people
weakness.
started.
The problem,
And it's not trilogy.
Look, it's
Not
like a
trilogy.
trash lightsaber throw, basically.
Yeah.
Because you have to have more red cards. Nobody's really gonna play red cards because red.
So
cards,
you're gonna have red cards.
You're proving my point.
Nobody's gonna play any red cards.
You're proving
Because
my
red
point.
cards
Exactly.
suck. Unless you're playing some trash Senate chamber or something, then you might have more red cards than your opponent. But I mean, the problem is number one, who is actually playing red at this point?
I take
nobody, unless you're playing Jin, but Jin is just pure damage or mill. If you're playing Jin, nobody else is playing red.
I never show. Here's the thing.
Nobody, and then if you're gonna put it in with the stupid Gungan,
Well, listen to this.
Again, I'm not saying you're putting 2 in there, but I'm saying, it's definitely a look at 1 card for your deck, to do that explosive damage, 2 damage, because, again, I agree.
Right.
You said that nobody's playing red, and so that makes the whole point there. Chances are you're going to be playing somebody that doesn't have more red in your, sitting on the table, even if you just have 1 character.
All right, Chewy. Crank and Chewy. I'll tell you what. Me and you are going to have a little tournament. We'll play best of 3 games. And I will play my Beckett Idaversio deck with not 1 but 2 intense fighters, because I play 2 of every card in every deck because I think it's a good idea.
I think
it's probably a terrible idea, but I like to wing it like that. So we'll play best of 3. You play your Coveted Vader deck. I will play my so good Tobias Beckett
and I'm
Idaversio
gonna
deck.
thrash your
my Senate
face
chamber.
with Vader.
And you, our loyal viewers,
I am going to absolutely
Loyal listeners, yep.
Our loyal listeners are going to come back next
your
week
face.
and see the results of our little tournament.
So we'll talk about it. We'll post the results on our Instagram page
Check it
and
out.
see against the Chewy and Mr. Anderson. So hey, we got to move along. Let's talk about a couple cards that I thought were kind of interesting.
Yes.
One of the
some trash cards.
one of the big producers, and when I saw this card, I thought it was really interesting. Deja Vu, 2-cost upgrade. Or support, 2-cost support. And it says, after you play this event, you may exhaust the support to play that event from your discard pile, paying its cost, of course. You cannot take more than 1 additional action this turn. And so it's a villain card. I thought, when I first saw this, I thought, boy, there's got to be a deck that works with. There's got to be a deck that there's so many good 0-cost upgrades right now. What's the one? Hidden motive, and then the he doesn't like you. Mm-hmm. I mean, those kind of cards, just 0-cost events. You
even easy picking.
Easy, yeah.
Actually, it's villain.
Oh yeah, it's villains.
Never mind. I mean, draft it.
I mean, but you could play it with. You could play this with Bush. You could play. But I think the card that I saw this best with was the DJ. This finally, I think, makes DJ a viable character because
I hate DJ.
I hate
God dang it!
I
had to make Deja.
DJ should never have
this card alone with
DJ?
DJ. Wait. This card alone with DJ just really makes him produce, because now you're going from removing 2 dice, say an entangle, which you guys love it when I talk about Tango.
Hate it. You
Oh,
talk about
But
it
so you
every day.
so you got
Every
DJ
day.
Snoke. You're making all kinds of resources with Snoke.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you got 5 or 6 resources out there. You've got the Deja Vu out there. They roll out. You can remove 4 dice, and do 4 indirect damage. That is just ridiculous before you even resolve a die. And so to me, that just seems like a really powerful. And then you're doing 4 more with the power action on DJ. I mean, you got a turnaround play of 8 damage there. So I just think this could be a really powerful card.
One thing you got to note there, of course, you think Vader is on the rise, and I think I would agree with that too. And Tango's not good against Vader. It just isn't, because you got to read the rest of the card. It's not remove 2 dice. It's remove 2 dice, showing a value of 3 or lower combined. So you're probably only going to get 1 die.
Yeah.
Well, I know. But maybe you
And
only get 1 die.
Pay 2 to get
But
this
is it-
trash out.
But then I'm resolving it twice, so I can get both of Vader's dice. So anyway, I don't know. It's interesting to me, and I think the really thing interesting to me is like a hidden agenda or hidden motive. So you roll out the hidden or you do the hidden motive. They roll it. You call melee. If a Vader he doesn't hit the melee side, guess what? You get to do it again.
and he won't hit
And
the
then
melee.
he's
not gonna hit the
It's
melee
gonna be
side.
trash.
Well, 2 chances at the melee. I mean, chances are with a Vader you're going to hit that melee and you're going to
Never
get rid
tell
of it.
me the odds.
And you got it
Never
for
tell me
free.
the odds.
Okay, so my next card is this. I thought this is really interesting.
Okay, now this is more trash.
I think it was one of those cards that, initially when I looked at it, I thought, well, this is just ridiculous. It's not a great card. But when you start looking at the card itself and realizing what it does, it's really kind of interesting.
Totally.
It's the Escape Craft. And I know, Escape Craft, what are you talking about that, Jake? So it's a 2-cost mod support, vehicle support, obviously. It is unique. It's a power action. It says, spot the Millennium Falcon to attach this card to it as a mod upgrade. Discard all upgrades from the card. So if you're using it as a vehicle, you have to discard the upgrades. And the action is, if this card is an upgrade, it becomes a support. Do not ready it. Okay, so here's the thing. I looked this up. I wondered how it really worked. I'm like, I got to make sure, I'm reading this right. So here's the thing. So you could play the Millennium Falcon. So you're playing a Lando. So the Falcon now costs 1 less. Let's say you're playing the Battlefield Alpha. The Weapons Factory Alpha. And so now you're doing it 1 less. So now you're getting the Millennium Falcon out for a 4 cost. Not that hard to get with Lando with all his resource sides and stuff.
L3.
And then you're pulling this for free. So you've just spent, for 4 resources, you've got 8 costs worth of upgrades and mods and everything like that. So you attach it to the. No, wait, listen. So you attach it to the Millennium Falcon. You roll it out, resolve it. It's got 2. The sides are a focus, a shield, a 1 and a 2 resource side. That 2 resource side is really significant because again, you're playing this in a vehicle deck. You're getting those resources. You need those resources. But here's the thing that I like about it. So the action is you get to detach it. So you get to roll it out and detach it. Now you detach this card. You get to roll it in again because it starts ready. It's like any other upgrade. You don't exhaust it when you exhaust a vehicle. So you get to actually, and you can actually roll it out again, and then you can reattach it. And if you can reset the Falcon, you can attach it. You can roll this card out 3 times.
Roll it out 4 times.
How's that?
And detach it. Oh wait, no, it's an action.
You can't really do that.
No.
But back to your.
So I know it's not. I understand it's not Vader's Fist getting rolled out 3 times with Vader's Fist and all that, but it's still interesting as a 2 cost, and it can be a free vehicle mod and getting to roll 3 times with the focus sides and the resource sides. I think the resource sides, so many focus. Like if you're playing an L3 or something, I think it just could be really significant.
Here's the thing. Back to your point about you pay 6 resources, but you pay 4 resources and you're getting 8 resources value out of your purchase, I guess. You see, the Escape Craft is included in the cost. You're never going to pay 6 resources for that dive the Falcon. The Escape Craft is included, if you see what I'm saying. So you're getting 4 resources
for a Falcon.
No one is going to pay 6 for that garbage.
Like,
Escape Craft is included in the cost. If you see what I'm getting at there?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So you're really only getting 4 for 6, and that's Lando's art and his ability as well as the Battlefield's ability.
Yeah.
And you compensating 2 shields.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So,
But I think it still just seems really powerful to me when you're getting the, all the rerolls on that. I'm just saying it's not, granted, it's not Vader's Fist by any means. I'm not trying to say it is. I'm just saying it's really interesting. And the Falcon is not a bad card. It's 3, 4 for a buck, a 4 indirect, 2 discard, and 3 shields and 3 resources. Again, in a vehicle deck, those resources. I mean, you could potentially get a turnaround of 5 resources. Now you're throwing out a tank. Now you're throwing out a Naboo N1. I mean, there's all kinds of things you're throwing out. And so, again, you're getting really quick ramp, I think, with these 2 cards. And it's really interesting for 4 resources.
Yeah.
It's good. But
Problem is, it's no Vader's fist.
it's no Vader's fist. You ain't going to compete. You're gonna whip that out, and it's gonna get blown up by the Vader's fist.
I mean,
Boom.
No, but what you're hoping to get is you're getting your turn sides, you're getting your focus sides on L3. You're rolling out the Falcon.
L3.
Maybe you get to resolve it. At least maybe resolve 3 resource sides. You throw out your Naboo, then you focus to the special. You reset your Falcon and you roll it out again. So I mean, you're getting some after you re-rolled the mod, the escape craft. So I mean, it's really interesting. So you could re-roll that thing 3 times, and you could potentially get 3 vehicles out round 1. I mean, that just to me is and again, you could throw out the Shadowcaster and get the upgrades on it, get the mods on it potentially. I mean, it's just really interesting. Some plays with that. So anyway,
that's if you have Donald Trump's economy and you're just making so much money.
Well, you would be. I mean, if you're playing Lando and Lando takes the -1 on any yellow vehicles, I mean, that's just really interesting. I don't know. It's just interesting to me. I didn't notice that before, that you could attach it and reattach it. And I just thought, okay, pull it out, play it for free. That's interesting, but it's such a huge cost upgrade at 6. But when you get you get to roll that out potentially 3 times in 1 round. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of our podcast this week. Any last thoughts or comments?
Go check out Cracked Ice Gaming on Instagram.
Yeah, go check out Crank and Chewy on Instagram as well.
We're also on Facebook, Cracked Dice Gaming. Take a look at our Facebook account. We'll be posting. We're posting all our new spoilers on there. You definitely want to check out these new spoilers. In fact, we're actually trying to add them to TTS. So just as some fun cards to play. So we'll see how that goes.
Adding confusion to random people's day. Where'd this come from?
Yeah. Where's this card at?
Here, copy this and go play it against someone else.
Go play this against Mr. Chip. It'll be good.
Yeah, play it against Chris. He'll love it.
No, Chris doesn't play.
Well, that's
Chris
true.
never plays that scene anymore.
Yeah. I think he fell in the same hole Jay fell into. So hopefully, maybe one of them boosted him out of the hole.
He didn't go to college though. So.
Yeah. Well, I think one of them was trying to dig an underground pool or something, and they both fell in, and now they're in
They're
there.
like building a well.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. So hopefully we'll see some Sir Christopher's and
No,
what is he? CX3 right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see some CX3 on TTS again. Maybe see him on some podcasts again. We'd love to see you, Chris, again. We really enjoy your content on YouTube and all that, and your channel. So if you could give us some more of that, that'd be great.
Actually, I saw on the news this trash truck mistake this human for trash, threw it in the back, and fatally died. So I'm not saying it was Jay or Chris. I'm just.
Was it what is it, near the Atlanta area? Is that where they live?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
around Atlanta.
So yeah, we might have some. We may not see them.
Yeah,
for a
it
while.
was like a white pale guy, with
some puby beard hair going on.
Yes.
Like, knows about it.
Did he have a bandana? Because then we may have trouble. Anyway, so hopefully we'll see those guys.
He was wearing a Patagonia hat.
Yeah.
Might be Jay.
I did see Mr. Chip on TTS. Got to play him a couple of games. It was a lot of fun, and so thanks, Mr. Chip, for letting us make a card in your honor, and then also for some TTS games. A lot of fun. Anyway, check us out. We'll be on TTS. We're on and off of TTS, and I think if you find us, I'm under Captain Shikaka, or no, Cracked Ice Gaming, and then
Crank and Chewy. Go hit me up on TTS if you want.
I will be under Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Get my name changed.
Yeah, once he gets the name changed official. So anyway, you find us on TTS. We'd love to play you. We host some sites every once in a while.
And we are on Irish time, so
Yeah, we
don't go out at like 10 o'clock Eastern time, or like I guess that's like 3 a.m. here. I'll probably be on TTS then. Don't go out at like 3 a.m.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, we'll try to play sometimes when you're on, especially over in the U.S. Anyway, we have a lot of fun playing TTS. Look us up. We'd love to play some games with you. Anyway, again, this is Crack Dice Gaming coming all the way from Ireland. We're so glad you tuned in today, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.